Well, like I promised, I was going to give you different backgrounds just to keep things interesting, and although most everybody has driven a car, I thought this would be a good opportunity to just kind of break up the monotony of some of the other background scenes. The purpose of my wanting to talk today is because of the last video, video number 7, about Genesis 47 and the New World Order, and make sure that I explain what my position is on that. As I told you, I'm a former military officer, and I'm an historian. I do a lot of historical research, and I discovered some time ago that there are people that have used what we call the Holy Bible, in its entirety I might add, for their own purposes, not necessarily what you would consider religious or spiritual ones, although in their minds I'm sure that's the case. The foremost among these is those who would believe that they have secret or esoteric knowledge and has nothing to do with their own spiritual advancement, but the birthright of Joseph. In other words, the inheritance of the material world, which was really what the birthright of Joseph was, partly. There was something else to it too, which they seem to have missed, but that's the one that they centered on. And of course, we can talk about who the God of this world is, which is supposed to be Satan, or the God of eternity, the great eternal, the creator, and of course the Gnostics had a different viewpoint on that. But be that as it may, what I'm trying to say here is this: that those who want to bring order from chaos will do it at your expense. The idea of the importance of the individual may have been a driving force at one time, but it has now gone back to what they can gather together for themselves, because they want to be both Joseph and Pharaoh. And Joseph was in fact Pharaoh for a certain amount of time. Now, if you understand that Joseph was the birthright son of Israel, that's Jacob, as we talked about before, and if you understand that there are people today who consider themselves to be either literal descendants of Joseph and have a right to those things, meaning everything you have as well, or if they just believe that that's a good blueprint to accomplish their purposes, however they view it, and there are those who view it in different ways. The bottom line is that their entire method of operation is to take control of everything. I've spent some time here in the last little while trying to see how they might justify that, do it from a good perspective. There's a lot of evil in the world. Maybe there is somebody that needs to control it. But as I look at the people who are probably behind most of this, they've been responsible for some of the most hideous crimes against humanity that have ever occurred. And while they might justify it on the grounds that, we have to sacrifice a few for the many, it's who they define as the few and the many that has me troubled. First of all, they can put themselves into that category. Now, being a military officer, I'm very familiar with the necessity of sacrifice. I understand that. And sometimes it's a sacrifice you don't want to make. But I'm not getting the same vibes from these guys that a good leader in a military situation would have. I'm getting an entirely different vibe altogether. And that is that they are going to accomplish their purposes even if it's at the expense of everyone else. And of course, it's for their benefit more than what they might say is the benefit for humanity as a whole, because they consider themselves to be humanity. Again, this is not a disparagement against Semites. I don't believe that Jews are the only Semites in the world. Israel was more than the Jews. Israel was 12 tribes, and the Jews were just basically Judah, with a few Benjamites and Levites thrown in there at one time. But the important thing to remember is that Jews are not the only Israelites, and there are Israelites who aren't Jews, and they're all Semites. So to say that you're being anti-Semite because you're explaining something like I am now is really foolhardy. So I'm just going to end this one with just a little explanation again, that if you go into Daniel and Ezekiel and Revelations and even Isaiah, a great many of the prophets and the writings, even the Torah itself, you will find blueprints for the activities of both the good people and the bad in the world, however you want to define those. They will define it, of course, on their own terms, that they are either good or bad. But be that as it may, and whatever reasons they have, there are things there that will give us clues as to what's going on. So this is how I'm tying in what's considered to be Holy Scripture in Western society with the ongoing political and economic problems that we're having. So I hope that was of a little interest to you. I plan on doing some other more in-depth videos here shortly, primarily about my own experiences, because some things have happened that I figure, well, it's not going to matter much longer. I might as well just go ahead and give all the information that I can in as short a time as I can. So thank you for coming. I'll talk to you next time.